Wishing a joyful Sunday! Welcome to Doctors on TV. I'm your host, Dr. Syra Barba-Cabodil. A day brimming with valuable health insights to guide you in different aspects. At bago po tayo dumako sa ating talakayan, gusto naming magbahagi ng awareness sa lahat. Lalo na po sa pagdating sa kapakanan ng mga babies. May magulang po na pinagbabawal ang halikan ng kanilang mga babies. At para naman po sa iba, it seems na parang ang OA naman o ang arte naman. Pero alam niyo ba na talagang, hindi dapat hinahalikan ng mga babies? Bakit nga po ba? Let's watch this.
Magandang araw mga kasangbahay, I am Dr. Katrina Flor Cruz Dacanay, your pediatrician for today. Madalas bang pinanggigigilan o hinahalika ng ating mga anak? Nako, kailangan pag-isipan nating mabuti mga mommies ang pagpapahalik sa ibang tao sa ating mga sanggol, sa muka o sa kahit anong bahagi ng kanilang katawan, lalo na sa bibig. Hindi naman masama yung pagiging exaggerated sa pagbabawal sa mga tao na humalik sa ating mga baby. Kasi may panganib na dala ang bawat halik sa pinakamamahal mong baby. So simulan na natin ang discussion, bakit nga ba dapat iwasan na pahalikan si baby sa ibang mga tao? Bagamat hindi naman lagi nagdudulot ng sakit ang paghalik kay baby, pwede pa din itong maging sanhi ng pagkalat ng mga mikrobyo tulad ng bacteria at viruses. Tandaan niyo po na ang immune system ni baby ay hindi pa fully developed kung kaya't siya ay at risk sa mga sakit. Ilan sa mga sakit na pwedeng mahawa sa paghalik kay baby ay number 1, RSV o yung Respiratory Syncytial Virus. Ang RSV ay isang mapanganib na sakit sa mga babies na natatransmit sa pamamagitan ng respiratory droplets o tuwing umuubo or bumabahing ang taong may sakit. That is why kung ikaw ay may ubo or sipon, huwag ka munang hahalik kay baby. Isa pa ang hand, foot, and mouth disease sa mga sakit na pwedeng mahawa sa pamamagitan ng paghalik kay baby. Pwede ring makakuha ng lip sore at blister si baby mula sa virus kung hahalikan si baby ng isang may sakit nito. Ang iba pang sakit na pwedeng makuha sa paghalik kay baby would be yung respiratory infections, trangkaso, herpes infections, kulugo at marami pang iba. Usually, pwede ring mag-cause ang paghalik kay baby ng mga rashes or yung allergic reactions. Ang paghalik kasi ay pwedeng magsali ng skincare products at makeup sa balat ni baby na pwedeng mag-cause ng allergic reactions at rashes. Ang rashes na ito can go away by using mild soap and applying creams and moisturizers. You can actually politely tell other people na wag muna nilang halikan si baby, lalo na kung sila ay may sakit. Pwede nyo silang sabihan na ito ay payo din ng inyong doktor. Kailangan ipaliwanag yung mabuti ang mga dahilan kung bakit nyo pinapaiwasan na halikan muna si baby. I suggest na you wait for a few months bago nyo payagan na pahalikan si baby. Kasi ito yung time na medyo mas kompleto na yung bakuna ni baby at mas malakas na ang kanyang immune system. And that's it mga kasangbahay. Sana marami kayong natutunan sa araw na ito. As always, please consult your pediatrician for your baby's health. Thank you again for watching today's episode. Again, I am Dr. Katrina Flor Cruz Dacanay. You can contact me through my Facebook and YouTube channel, Dr. Katrina Flor Cruz, Instagram and TikTok, katrinamd.ph. See you everyone in the next episode.
Ayan mga kasambahay, natutunan na natin na dapat wag hahalikan ng mga babies. Hindi po dahil sa maarte tayo, pero kung hindi, ito ay paraan upang maiiwas sa mga sakit ang ating mga maliliit na anak. And before we delve into our main topic, we'd like to invite you to follow and subscribe to our social media accounts. Please like and follow our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/doctorsontv. And like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just type www.youtube.com/@UNTV News and Rescue. And you can actually send us questions and comments po sa mga pages na yan. Kaya after liking and subscribing, i-share nyo na din po sa inyong mga friends and family. Di pa tayo tapos mga kasambahay, marami pa po tayong pag-uusapan mamaya. Yan po ay sa pagbabalik ng Doctors on TV. Welcome back mga kasambahay! Ikaw ba ay bahing ng bahing tuwing umaga o madaling mahatsing na kumakalanghap lang ng kaunting alikabok? Naku, kasangbahay, baka ikaw ay mayroon ng allergic rhinitis. At para po sa paunang detalye ukol dito, let's watch this.
Sa panahon natin ngayon na tuloy-tuloy na pag-unlad at paglago ng makabagong teknolohiya, kaakibat naman ito ang iba't ibang usaping pangkalusugan na naisasaalang-alang dahil sa pagbabagong ating nararanasan. Kaugnay nito, ayon sa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, isa ang climate change sa mga faktor na maaaring magdulot ng allergies sa mga tao, gaya na lamang ng allergic rhinitis. Kung saan umaabot na sa 400 milyong mga tao sa buong mundo ang mayroong allergic rhinitis at marami sa bilang na ito ay hindi nabibigyan ng tamang lunas.
Our discussion today centers around allergic rhinitis, a condition that impacts many lives. Our guest will guide us through the nuances of allergic rhinitis, providing valuable insights into its diagnosis, treatment, and preventive measures. Let us welcome Dr. Maria Socorro Agkawili de Jesus, an allergologist from Makati Medical Center. Good morning, Doc Michael. Welcome back to Doctors on TV.
Good morning also, Dr. Sarah, and I'm happy to be back here again.
Yeah, okay. The feeling is mutual, no?
Yeah.
So, you're asked to come back. So, it means ang dami nating natutunan, no? Dami namin natutunan ng mga kasangbahay po mula sa inyo, okay? And ito syempre, di ba? Okay, without further ado, no? Para mas maintindihan po ng ating mga viewers, can you explain? Kasi lagi natin naririnig, ako may allergic rhinitis ako eh. Okay, mga bahing ng bahing. Baka may allergic rhinitis ka. So, what exactly is it?
Okay. When we say allergic rhinitis, it's symptomatic inflammation of the nose after exposure to a certain environmental allergen. So, you will only have those symptoms of sneezing, no? Yung pagbabahing. You have also runny nose, yung laging may sipon, no? Sa umaga na clear lang. You have also this laging nangangati yung sa ilong. And lastly, you have this clogged nose o yung black nose, yung laging barado ang hilong. So, yung mga symptoms usually after mo ma-expose sa certain allergen sa ating paligid, and after that, nagre-react lang yung ating ilong sa kanila. Kaya meron kang mga symptoms ng katulad ng mga ganon. And usually, when you say allergic rhinitis, clinically, no, we say na this is immune-mediated, and this is usually IgE-mediated.
Okay, and so may mga minention kayong mga manifestations. So, meron ba itong specific time of the day or every when siya usually na nakikita or na-experience na isang pasyente having allergic rhinitis?
Okay, wala naman pong pinipiling oras ng araw kung kailan ka magkakaroon ng mga simptomas nito. It could be always in the morning upon waking up, no? Yung ibang tao din, meron din pong simptomas ng mga to in the afternoon or at night kung kailan sila matutulog na. So as long as exposed ang isang pasyente sa mga triggers na to, definitely mauulit at mauulit, Doc Sarah, itong mga simptomas na ito. Kaya hindi natin pwedeng masabi na umaga lang siya, tanghali lang siya, or panggabi lang siya, as long as you're exposed to these allergens. Yun po.
I see. Okay, so having mentioned that, no, Doktora, so basically, gusto kong balikan yung definition ng allergic rhinitis, okay? So definitely, it has an allergic component, okay?
Yes.
And alam natin kasi, di ba, pag sinabing allergy, this doesn't really go away. You're born, one is born with it, okay?
Yes.
So, and it means, so dahil yung allergic rhinitis, kasi sabi nyo pabalik-balik, kasi siya, same individual na may ganung sakit, may ganung condition. So, until tumanda siya, meron na siya niyan.
Yes.
Okay, so this is not really treatable. This is controllable.
Controllable.
Okay, so magandang maintindihan ng ating mga kasangbahay, no? Kasi syempre, one would be, baka first, para at least alam niya na, so parang mas ma-identify niya katulad ng sinabi niyo po na trigger. Pag na-identify, so that can help that individual na ito dapat kong iwasan para wag magkaroon ng atake ulit. Okay,
That's
so whether maging umaga yan o hapon o tanghali, gabi, ganyan. Okay, so and then yung rhinitis, rhino means ilong, no?
Ilong.
And anything that ends with itis is may pamamaga.
Inflammation.
So, yun po yung nag-explain ba kung bakit sinabi nyo kanina baggy, meron parang clogging.
Yes.
It's because paga.
Yes, may
I
inflammation
see.
talaga doon.
Okay, and usually po, okay, so na-mention natin, depende kung anong allergen ang nag-trigger. Okay, so, but basically, ano nga po ba itong mga most common ones na pwedeng mag-trigger or magpaumpisa ng isang atake sa isang may allergic rhinitis?
Okay, para sa ating mga kasambahay, the most important allergens na we have these indoor allergens, ibig sabihin yung mga nakikita sa loob ng bahay, loob ng isang structure, loob ng building, or we have also the outdoor allergens. When you say indoor allergens, ang pinaka-common ay yung mga house dust mites. We have also our cockroaches. And of course, yung mga pets natin ngayon, lalo na ngayon, commonly, nasa loob na ng bahay, kasama na sa kwarto.
Usually, may aso, may pusa,
yes.
diba? And hindi lang isa kalimitan.
Oo.
Yeah.
So yun, mga common siya, pets ng dog's hairs, cat's hairs, or danders. And also, you have also yung mga molds, ang dami-dami punan. Mga feathers, no, yung mga sa loob ng bahay, like if you have yung mga unan na made of kapok, no, you can also have allergies to that. And then sa outdoor allergens naman, these are the different pollens from the different trees, weeds, and grasses, no? And also, sometimes yung mga molds then we can also find molds outdoors. So,
I see.
ito yung mga usual na mga triggers ng ating allergies.
Okay. So, I'm just curious, Doktora, kasi I'm sure concerned din yan ng ibang mga kasambahay natin, ano? Paano, Doktora, kung kunyari yung trigger? Okay, so, granting na-identify na. However, what if the allergen, okay, is impossible to be avoided? Kasi, like, kunyari, work-related. Siyempre, parang, yung magre-resign ka ba? Parang ganun. So, what do you usually advise patients na paano maiwasan or paano bumaba yung immune response o yung, para wag magkaroon ng atake pagka ganyan yung condition?
Okay. So, definitely, of course, we classify muna kung gaano kalala yung ating simptomas ng pasyente kasi based doon sa classification niya, then ma-identify natin kung paano natin gagamutin isang pasyente. Of course, there are four-pronged approach sa treatment ng allergic rhinitis. And the first one is allergen avoidance. No, like for example, you're working in a laboratory and kunyari na nag-culture ka ng mga dust mites, no? So, we have a lot of mga personnels na because of this exposure, sabi nga sa trabaho, no, yun yung trabaho nila, gumawa ng cultures ng house dust mites, and then eventually they develop this allergic rhinitis. So, ang first thing doon, of course, you have to pull out that personnel from the exposure doon sa allergens na yon. So, that's allergen avoidance. But, siyempre, kung yun naman talaga ikakabuhay ng pasyente, no?
Yeah,
kasi it's part of her work, then, kasama doon yung ating pharmacologic treatment, pagbibigay ng mga gamot sa pasyente.
Which we will be discussing in a
Later,
while,
okay.
And okay, so I'm just interested. So basically, talagang walang magagawa. You have to really avoid kung ano yung yung trigger mo. Okay, and na-mention na rin natin about kanina, parang pwedeng occupation-related. So, when you say occupational, though may idea na ang mga kasambahay natin, no, pero can you elaborate more about what occupational allergic rhinitis is and kung ano pa po yung mga ibang klase ng allergic rhinitis?
May mga workers naman na pagpasok nila sa isang trabaho, no, nawala sila pang mga symptoms ng mga allergic rhinitis. But eventually, after several years na nagtatrabaho sila dun sa isang lugar na yon, they would eventually develop these symptoms. So, yun ang tinatawag nating occupational rhinitis. No? Kasi it would take also several years for a person to develop a sensitization and later on allergic reaction to a certain environmental trigger. So, hindi ibig sabihin that before, okay siya doon sa exposure na yon. Like for example, if a person is working in certain chemical company and then wala siyang hika at the start, wala siyang allergic rhinitis, and eventually, after 1 to 2 years, talagang makikita mo, hindi tumitigil yung pagra-runny nose niya, pagbabahing, no? Especially pag pumasok na siya doon sa kanilang trabaho. Then, we can say, after investigation, kung talagang merong triggers na based doon sa exposure ng pasyente, then we say that the patient has an occupational rhinitis.
I see. Okay. And so basically, talagang mahirap din talaga mag-deal with occupational allergic rhinitis. Especially like na-mention kanina na talagang yun ang kinabubuhay mo. So mahirap. Lalo na kung kunyari, what if chemist yung individual, diba? So primarily, yun talaga yung work niya. Okay. And pero doktora, yung iba kasi diba parang hindi naman all throughout the year nagkakaroon ng ng atake ng allergic rhinitis. So bakit yung iba ganon? Parang may season lang.
Okay. So before, ang classification talaga ng allergic rhinitis, we use that seasonal and perennial allergic rhinitis. When you say seasonal, yun lang. May season lang of the year na naging symptomatic ang isang pasyente. Pag sinabing perennial, parang all throughout the year, talagang naandun yung kanyang symptoms ng pagbabahing, runny nose, clogged nose, mga ganon. But nowadays, we don't use that classification anymore kasi most of the allergens found, no, actually, kahit yung mga pollens, ang common cause ng mga seasonal allergic rhinitis are the pollens. Meaning, kunyari, in season, in bloom, itong mga weeds na to and trees na to, doon lang sila magkakaroon ng symptoms. However, in some places, these pollens are actually found or in bloom all throughout the year and therefore, nagiging all throughout the year na symptomatic ang pasyente.
I see. Okay. So talaga may kinalaman pa rin sa allergen. Okay?
Yes.
So yun siya talaga. Since hindi talaga treatable ang allergic rhinitis, it's just controllable.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, ano yung natin, yung fear natin? I mean, how is this related to is this related to another health condition? I mean, kailan tayo natatakot na dahil hindi siya treatable, ito yung mga pwedeng mangyari?
Okay. So, karamihan sa mga pasyente may allergic rhinitis, first, they don't know, hindi nila alam na meron pala silang ganyang symptoms na. Because like, if you have laging sipon sa umaga, and usually, this is short lang, yung mga symptoms, no, after 1 to 2 hours, okay na kaagad siya. So, people are thinking na these are just normal symptoms, no? And then, all throughout, parang nakasanayan na nila na may sipon sila, they think na it's normal. But we have to be aware of the complications ng allergic rhinitis, Doc Sara. So if you have persistent allergic rhinitis, it can actually trigger the development of lower airway allergy in the form of bronchial asthma. Yung mga pasyente din na lagi may allergic rhinitis are prone to develop rhinosinusitis or yung infection ng sinuses natin. They are also prone to develop otitis media or yung infection ng middle ears natin. Kaya yung iba, pag nagkaroon ng sipon-sipon, mamaya ang sakit na ng tenga. And this can also trigger yung pagkakaroon ng eardrum problem. Kaya yung iba, I don't know if you've heard of that, na nabubutas yung eardrum because infected na yung ears and then nagkakaroon na ng discharge, na discharge sa ears, no? In layman's term, no, we call that as parang luga. So, common po yan lalo na sa mga bata din. And also, yung mga pasyente din na meron ng underlying obstructive sleep apnea, yung mga pasyente may allergic rhinitis presenting with clogged nose, so mas lalong nagka-clog pa rin yung nose nila, aggravating the problem of the obstructive sleep apnea nila.
Kaya pala, may naririnig natin yan na talagang yung may mga allergic rhinitis, yung iba nagde-develop ng obstructive sleep apnea. Ito po yung pagka natutulog sa gabi, di ba? Or basta natutulog. Okay, so basically, mas hirap silang huminga.
Yeah, kasi siyempre barado na yung ilong nila, tapos meron pa silang obstruction. So pag barado ang ilong mo, ang tendency natin is huminga sa bibig. No? Kaya yung mga tao may OSA, obstructive sleep apnea, dry na dry ang mouth. Ganon din namang pasyente may allergic rhinitis, they tend to breathe through their mouth, no? Kaya lang, sa tao may obstructive sleep apnea, di ba, medyo yung kanyang neck, medyo yung fats nila na constrict. So, you add pa yung problem ng allergic rhinitis.
Okay, so parang basically, they aggravate each other.
Yes.
Okay. So, kanina, na-mention natin paulit-ulit yung mga signs and symptoms po dito, particularly lalo dito sa nasal area.
Yes.
How about yung ano yung manifestations po ng pasyente may allergic rhinitis? Kumbaga, di ba, pag sinisip po, minsan pagana rin yung mata or ano pa po yung ibang nakikita na mga signs or na experience, hindi lamang sa ilong, but sa mata, sa tenga, etc.
Okay. Meron din po tayong tinatawag na allergic rhinoconjunctivitis wherein aside doon sa nabanggit ko na mga symptoms kanina, may mga pasyente din na namumula yung eyes, nangangati yung eyes, no? So, yun ang tinatawag nating allergic rhinoconjunctivitis.
Okay, so basically, and is it very common sa mga may allergic rhinitis, Doktor?
Opo, nakikita din namin sila ng madalas, yung may mga allergic rhinoconjunctivitis. Wherein, pag ginamot mo tong rhinitis, even without putting any medications for the eyes, nag-i-improve yung symptoms ng conjunctivitis niya.
I see. And doktora, sa practice nyo, ganun ba ka-common ng allergic rhinitis?
Ayan ako, bread and butter ata namin yan, Doc Sara.
Ay,
Sobrang dami. Lalo na ngayon, ngayong mga panahon na to, yung panahon natin na it's flu season, tapos mabilis mag-iba yung panahon, no? Talagang yung mga tao may allergic rhinitis, mas malala yung kanilang nararanasan ngayon because of the additional trigger from the flu.
I see. I mean, tayo, naiintindihan natin, mas maintindihan natin since tayo po ay nasa medical field. However, yung ating mga kasangbahayan, no? I mean, how would they know if it's just an allergic reaction ba? Or, okay, like kanina na-mention nyo about the flu, or, and then, or pagka ito ay isang allergic rhinitis na, how do they discern it?
Okay, sa mga taong may known na allergic rhinitis na, no? Kung gusto mong malaman kung ito ay rhinitis pa rin or iba na, no? Of course, pag may allergic rhinitis ka at ang nakainom ka na ng mga gamot mo na anti-allergy, no? Nasal spray or oral antihistamine, and yet, hindi pa rin siya nawawala, and lalo na kung iba na. Pag allergic rhinitis kasi ang sipon mo usually clear siya, watery, but later on kung ang iyong sipon as nagiging iba na ang kulay, foul smelling na, no? May kasamang paglalagnat, tapos may kasamang pain here, no? Yung sinusitis. Then ibig sabihin nun, you might be suffering a complicated infection na, no, aside from the allergic rhinitis.
I see.
So baka it's an infection na.
So
secondary
bacterial infection. Okay, and you mentioned about complications. So apart from that, what other complications that are possible, okay, from an attack of allergic rhinitis had it not been controlled?
Ang pinakamadalas na nakikita ko sa clinic na complications ng allergic rhinitis is the development of chronic cough din, no? Yung chronic ay yung ubo na matagal nang hindi nawawala, more than 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks na even despite pag-work up for possible infection na cause ng matagal na ubo, is wala pa rin makita, no? Ito yung mga pasyenteng lagi lang parang ang kati-kati ng lalamunan, no? It's because yung sipon, yung ibang pasyente kasi lalo na sa adult, hindi na common yung runny nose talaga sila, kundi yung tinatawag namin post-nasal drip, no? Yung sipon is doon na lang nalalaglag sa likod ng lalamunan, and that sipon would cause actually yung matagal na pag-uubo na parang ang kati-kati, no? Parang kahit magsalita ka lang, mauubo ka na.
I see. Okay, and doktora, parang ang hirap naman pagka may allergic rhinitis, ano? So, parang wala akong pamamaga ng ilong. However, na-experience ko yan eh. Kunyari, I would know kung may naninigarilyo. Kahit na hindi ko nakikita, I mean, pwedeng kapitbahay or what.
Ng ilong.
Nangangati ilong, tapos masakit na yung throat, and then, pati yung tenga ko nangangati, ganyan. So, papahanap ako kung nasaan or what. Sometimes, hindi nga simpleng antihistamine won't work. Pagka talagang pati mata ko namamagana, I'd have to take minsan a low dose of steroid na kasi, or else mahirapan na magkaklag na talaga yung throat ko. So, I feel yung mga may allergic rhinitis, no? And, doktora, ito ba, may certain fasi ba ang mga, when say fasi, yung itsura, okay, ng mga taong may allergic rhinitis? Kasi di ba, this is for long.
Yes.
Kasi siguro mga bata, so, wala pa.
Matagal
na. Pero may certain look ba sila na pagka ganito, ay, naku, wawa ito, may allergic rhinitis to.
Okay, tama yun, no? Hindi kami manghuhula, pero pag nakita lang namin yung pasyente, pagpasok pa lang sa clinic na ganito yung tsura niya, alam ko na papakonsulta niya. No? So, we have this parang signs na ang isang pasyente ay merong allergic rhinitis. One, we have this what we call allergic shiners, yung parang ang itim-itim dito, no? So, it's not actually an eye bag, tas ang itim ng ilalim under eye, no? So, it's what we call allergic shiners. Shiners, pero maitim. No?
Shiner.
Oo, shiners.
Bakit shiners? Ano yung nagsashine?
Hindi nga eh. That's the opposite kasi maitim siya. So, it means that there is nasal obstruction there, kaya hindi maayos na nakakapag-flow in drainage ng mga sa ilong natin.
Pero, doktora, wait. Is this apparent despite you seeing the patient without an attack, current attack?
Yes. Kasi chronic na siya, di ba? Matagal na siya.
So for long yun na yung itsura niya talaga.
Yes. Meron din yung pag tinignan mo yung ilong ng pasyente, meron siya mga creases dito, yung mga lines dito. Kasi, and pagdating din, lalo yung mga bata, meron silang tinatawag na allergic salute. No? Yung pag gano'n, no?
Kaya pala
or yung iba, gano'n ng gano'n, no? Kaya pag ginanon mo lagi ang ilong mo, nagkakaroon ng crease dito.
Naku, sana wag ganun yung mga merong kasi di ba parang, kasi syempre nasa aesthetic field din ako. So I would always advise habang bata, dapat niya hindi ginaganyan, inaakyat. So dapat pababa para, kasi di ba, nagpo-form pa yung nasal bone para tumango. So kaysa makikita natin yung iba projected upwards and anteriorly, nakaganon, no? Syempre, so affected nga yung look. Okay. Teka, wait, napag-usapan yan. Would you recommend na isang nose lift para sa mga may allergic rhinitis? Kasi syempre, di ba? Parang
hindi, masisira yun. Kasi lagi sila nag-ano.
Teka muna, ayaw naman natin tanggalan ng hope yung ibang patient. Pwede po siguro non-surgical, di ba?
Non-surgical.
At least kasi pagka non-surgical, so, I mean, hindi isang buong implant ang nandyan. Okay? Syempre, maintindihan ng mga iba. And then, just making the topic lighter po, mga kasangbahay. Okay. Pero ito, gusto ko pa rin itanong, despite na syempre, naintindihan naman natin, sinabi nga natin na this is not treatable, this can only be controllable because parang an individual is like born with any form of allergies, diba? And one would be allergic rhinitis. Okay, so, but can this be prevented? Paano ba maiwasan? Kasi ako, meron ako. Yung asawa ko, meron pa, pareho. Paano yung anak ko? Paano siya wala? So, can you explain that, Doktora?
Sige. So, actually, may mga risk factors, no, for developing allergic rhinitis. Ano ba yung chance mo na magkaroon kang allergic rhinitis, no? So, a very important risk factor is a family history of allergic diseases, no? Kung yung parents mo, meron kang allergic rhinitis, may allergic bronchial asthma, may atopic dermatitis. So therefore, kung both parents mo merong ganon, you have 40 to 60% chance na magkaroon ka ng allergic diseases. Now, if you want to check kung yung parent mo may allergic rhinitis and ano din yung chance mo na magkaroon ka ng the same allergic rhinitis, then it's around 50 to 80%. So mataas siya. Now, kung isang parent lang, no, that's only 20 to 40%. And kung ang sibling mo lang ang merong history ng allergies, wala sa parents mo, then around 25 to 35%. But kung wala kang family history, pwede ka pa rin magkaroon ng allergic rhinitis in around 5 to 15% of patients. So yan yung mga risk factor. Then, ang isa pang risk factors is you have repeated exposure to these environmental allergens. Kunyari, alam mo na ang house dust mites, ang dogs, no, and cats, no? And all the pollens, pwede siyang mag-trigger ng development ng allergic rhinitis, then you should stop exposing yourself.
Naku, parang interesting yan, Doktora. Mamaya, kailangan mong paalalahanan yung ating mga kasangbahay. Ano yung mga bawal? Kasi syempre, di ba, hindi mo nga mapiprevent eh.
Yes.
So at least, bukod dun sa kanilang mga oral medications, ano yun, bibigyan natin sila ng checklist kung ano yung mga bawal na iwasan sa pamamahay nila. So, maiwasan yung attack. Okay?
Yeah, so yun, yung isang way yun para ma-prevent mo yung development. Like for example, Doc Sarah, you have a family history. Alam mo na magkakaroon ka ng chance na mag-develop ng allergies. So you can delay the development of that allergic rhinitis by limiting yourself to exposure to these possible allergens. You're delaying that one.
Ayan, ang mga aabangan ng ating mga kasambahay miya-miya po lamang. So mga kasambahay, naku, wag muna kayong bibitiw dahil maganda yung topic na pinag-uusapan natin. Pero tayo po ay magbabalik at wag po kayong magpapalit ng channel. Doctors on TV, we'll be right back. Nagbabalik po ang Doctors on TV. Naku, at para pa rin po sa pagpapatuloy ng ating talakayan, still here with us is Dr. Maria Socorro Agkawili de Jesus, an allergologist from Makati Medical Center. Ito, Doktora, kanina na pag-usapan natin yung mga signs, symptoms, and causes. Okay, and yung mga medical conditions which are actually related to allergic rhinitis. This time around, pag-usapan naman natin yung diagnosis tsaka yung treatment. Okay, so we go first with the diagnosis. So ano po yung usual, the patient upon entering your clinic, ano yung step 1 nyo, and then what are the measures or what are the diagnostic procedures that you usually request para to confirm your diagnosis or
Okay. Sa mga kasambahay natin, ang pag-diagnose po ng allergic rhinitis is actually clinical. When you say clinical, of course, we start to ask the patient, we get the history, no, kung ano bang nangyayari. Yung kanya bang symptoms is consistently nauulit after exposure to a certain allergen. We can diagnose the patient to be having allergic rhinitis, but we should be confirming that diagnosis by doing allergy test, no, para malaman natin kung talagang IgE-mediated ito. Kasi there are also non-allergic rhinitis.
So meron ding non-allergic rhinitis. Can you, Doktora, before you proceed, can you differentiate that with allergic rhinitis?
Okay, so ang symptoms ng allergic and non-allergic rhinitis are almost the same, no? Yung 4 na mga symptoms ng sneezing, no, pagbabahing, runny nose, and then clogged nose, and itchy nose. But it would be different na later on kung ma-confirm natin through the allergy test kung meron ba siyang positive na allergens, and that allergen na nag-positive is consistently triggering yung kanyang mga symptoms upon exposure to this. So, kung nag-negative doon sa skin testing or allergy blood test, then we can say that this is a non-allergic rhinitis. But if it's positive doon sa IgE test or sa blood test or sa skin prick test, then we can say that the patient is having allergic rhinitis.
I see. Pero Doktora, having a non-allergic component dun sa non-allergic rhinitis, ano yung sanhi nun?
Okay. So we have also what we call the irritants in the environment and also the pollutants. Yung mga pollutants sa paligid natin can actually trigger also rhinitis symptoms. We have also the irritants like mga strong odors, no? Yung iba, pag nakaamoy pa lang ng mga Sonrox, kunyari mga Clorox, mga ganon, no? Plus mga perfumes, even perfumes, this can actually irritate the nose. Kaya yung iba, pag na-sprayan pa lang ng perfume, sobrang irritated na yung ilong. Nagsisneeze na siya, nagra-runny nose na. And even the change in the temperature can actually trigger a rhinitis symptoms, no? Kunyari, pagpasok ng pasyente doon sa malamig na lugar, talagang magka-clog na yung nose niya. Yung iba naman, kung saan pumasok sa mainit na lugar, doon na magka-clog or magra-runny nose. So, these are examples of non-allergic rhinitis.
I see. Okay, kaya pala. Ako, I would
Pati pala yung mga
experience...
smoke, Doktora.
Yeah. Doon din yun sa non-allergic.
Sa non-allergic
So,
because these are irritants.
I see. But ako kasi we have like, may lahi kami ng allergies talaga. My father had asthma, bronchial asthma. Ayun, ako, I have skin asthma also. And ako din na-experience ko yung non-allergic rhinitis. Ewan ko kung tama yung diagnosis, Doktora. I just base it from what you mentioned. Pag pumasok ako sa bilihan ng mga tela, ayan, nahihirapan na akong huminga. Okay, kaya hindi ako pumupunta sa bilihan ng tela. I do not know. Maybe it's something that preserves yung mga
or
fabric.
pwedeng dalawa din yan, Doktora.
Ano kaya yun, Doktora?
Mas, yung ibang pasyente malala kasi they have both the non-allergic and allergic
you
rhinitis.
can have both.
Yes. Oo. So, yung binanggit mo na pagpasok mo pa lang sa tindahan ng mga tela, it could be, di ba, minsan maamoy sila. It could be that one, it irritates your nose. Or, baka ang dami din dust mites doon. Because nasa ano siya. Yung pagkatago nila, the way na naka-pile sila, nakatago sa storage nila, then you can have madami mga dust mites doon.
Yeah, but ako, I didn't bother to check. Basta ako, hindi na lang ako pupunta dun sa bilihan ng tela, di ba?
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, Doktora. So, ayun, okay, continue, moving forward. Okay, so basically, kanina, sabi nyo, clinical ang diagnosis ng allergic rhinitis. Okay, so you were able to mention also na kailangang ma-confirm whether it's allergic or non-allergic type, okay? And do you do also yung mga nasal exam, direct nasal exam?
Yeah, of course, that's part of the diagnosis, no? So, we examine din the nose, no, by doing the rhinoscopy, no? We have the anterior rhinoscopy lang. Of course, yung pinaka-detailed na examination of the nose will be done by the ENT, yung mga endoscopy na yan. But as a general doctor, no, you should be able to at least examine the inside of the nose. So, pag tinignan natin yung ilong mo, no, usually ang ilong ng pasyente may allergic rhinitis, usually very pale na and boggy. Magang-maga yung turbinates nila doon, yung mucosa po doon sa loob ng ilong. Kaya, pag nag-PPE po kami, nag-examine ng isang pasyente may allergic rhinitis, talagang tinitingnan namin yun with the help ng aming instrument, and makikita namin yung kanyang ilong sa loob, very pale. Alam mo, normally, ang kulay ng loob ng ilong natin is pinkish to reddish, no? But in a patient with allergic rhinitis, parang ang putla-putla ng loob.
Bakit nga, Doc?
No?
Bakit
Because
ganon?
it's chronically inflamed. Matagal nang inflamed doon sa loob. And then, meron din mga secretions doon sa loob. Maraming mga sipon sa loob, no? Na either clear siya, but sometimes when it's complicated by bacterial infection, nagkakaroon ng mga dilaw-dilaw na mga secretions doon.
I see. Kanina, doktora, we mentioned, so ito yung sa nasal findings, pero kanina we mentioned, di ba, na there can be eye findings also, tapos pwede sa throat and sa tenga, and do you also do physical exam on these organs po, and what do you usually find pagka sa mga pasyenteng may allergic rhinitis?
Okay. Doon din sa eyes, we also examine the inside of the eyes, no? Yung iba talaga reddish yung kanyang etong white natin dito, mapupula sila. And also, pag ginan mo yung eyes nila dito na may mga parang mga cobblestones dito. And then we also examine the inside of the mouth to see kung merong post-nasal drip doon sa likod ng lalamunan. Kung meron kaming sipon na nakitang nagdidrip doon sa likod. And they have also what we call the cobblestoning doon sa lalamunan, no? Sa wall, sa back ng wall ng lalamunan natin. Ano ba yung cobblestoning? Meron silang parang mga bukol-bukol na ganito doon sa loob niya because of the irritation, then chronic irritation ng throat natin kasi because of the post-nasal drip.
I see. Kung dami natin natututunan, doktora, no? Okay, ito, doktora. Hanggang saan ang usually physical examination nyo sa mga pasyenteng may allergic rhinitis?
Kompleto yan. Sa eyes, sa nose, sa mouth, sa skin, sa face, sa ears also kasama pa yan. You have to check the patency ng eardrum. Meron ba mga discharge din yung ears, mapula ba yung ears, retracted ba yung ears, boggy ba siya, I mean, bulging yung eardrum niya, it means merong infection din sa loob doon. And of course, we also check yung mga complications ng allergic rhinitis. So we go as down as the lungs, no? And also, we examine the rest kasi itong mga taong may allergic rhinitis, they have also concomitant ibang allergic diseases like they have also skin asthma. Kaya we have to check also the skin and then the lungs.
Skin actually help in confirming
asthma.
also.
Confirming that this patient is really atopic or allergic.
I see. Okay. And so nag-mention na kayo ng skin asthma also. And ano po yung mga ibang differential diagnosis natin when we deal with allergic rhinitis?
Okay. First, you have to rule out then the non-allergic rhinitis or yung infectious cause ng sneezing, no, runny nose, no? If you have also some polyps, no? Yung polyps yung parang laman na tumubo doon sa loob ng ilong because of the irritation, then we need the help of the ENT to really examine the inside of the nose. Kasi sometimes, bakit ba ang tagal-tagalan ng pasyenteng nag-runny nose, no, clogged nose, yung pala meron something doon. In pediatric patients, we have to rule out also foreign body. No? Yung mga naglalaro ng mga maliliit na bagay, tapos pinapasok sa ilong nila, they can also cause yung mga matagal ng clogged nose, tapos runny nose also. But of course, minsan sa sakit na tagalan na meron ng foul-smelling na discharge sa loob na, which is in some patients with allergic rhinitis also, lalo na nagkakaroon ng sinusitis na, you can also have those complications na nagkakaroon ng mga foul-smelling discharge na. Actually, sometimes ang common cause ng consultation is because parang ang baho na po ng bibig niya, hindi ko alam kung is it from the mouth because meron siyang dental caries cavities, no? Yung pala, it's because of the chronic sinusitis, which is a complication also of the allergic rhinitis.
I see. So basically, napaka-importante mga kasangbahay na talagang pag may mga nakikitang mga senyales o kaya may mga sintomas na iniinda ang mga bata, lalo na kasi mga bata, hindi sila masyado nakakapag-communicate well pa, di ba? Especially the smaller ones.
Yes.
By the way, I forgot to ask kanina, how young yung patient na nakita niyo po with allergic rhinitis?
Okay. So first, Doc Sarah, let's discuss muna how common ba, how prevalent itong allergic rhinitis, no? So in the Asia Pacific, actually, the prevalence of allergic rhinitis is around 31 to 40%, no? And in the Asia, that's in the Asia Pacific. In among Filipinos, no, there was a study done. This is the ISAC. This is International Study on Allergies and Asthma in Children. They found out that around 15% of Filipino children has allergic rhinitis. And in adults also, the prevalence is around 10 to 30%. So meaning you have 1 out of 10 Filipino adults have allergic rhinitis, or 2 or 3 out of 10 Filipino adults, yes, na merong allergic rhinitis. And kailan sila nagma-manifest? As young as 2 years old, you can already have this allergic rhinitis.
As young as 2 years old.
And then they can peak between 10 to 20 years old, 10 to 30 years old, and then magiging stable sila. And then, mag-i-increase na lang uli ang prevalence ng allergic rhinitis as we grow old. So, mas marami din, actually, risk factor ang increasing age for allergic rhinitis.
I see. Okay. So, hindi kaya ako na-mention kasi, syempre, di ba usually sa atin, yung sipon, mawawala din naman yan. So, I'm just bothered na dapat talaga, no, bago magkaroon ng mga kanyang complications, especially pagkabata. Okay? Kasi,
so,
dapat magamot ka agad.
Oo, hindi normal sa batang toddler or preschooler, no? Yung sa preschooler, laging may sipon, araw-araw, papasok sa school, ayan, laging may sipon. Actually, and allergic rhinitis is not as a simple disease, no? Grabe talaga ang effect niya sa quality of life, lalo na sa mga estudyante and sa working population.
And, sige nga, having mentioned that, Doktora, usually sa mga na-experience sa mga pasyente nyo, kalimitan, how is their life affected pagka meron talagang allergic rhinitis? Sa mga bata, and even sa adults na rin, no? Allergic rhinitis is actually one of the top most common cause of absenteeism. Oh, alam mo na yun, no? So, paano ba sabihin ng bata, okay din pala may allergic rhinitis, lagi akong absent. Okay. Oo. Kasi sila, no, yung batang may allergic rhinitis, sabi ko nga talaga, hindi yan makakapag-concentrate sa school kasi mas uunahin pa niyang laging yung tissue or yung panyo niya na laging barado, hindi maganda ang pagtulog niyan. Kaya pagpasok niyan sa school, irritable, hindi makapag-concentrate, no? They're bothersome yung symptoms nila, no? Yung iba pa nga, like yung mga working adults na, no? Nahihiyang pumasok, lalo na nung time ng itong COVID, no? Kasi konting sipon-sipon lang, hindi ka na pwedeng pumasok. COVID. Kailangan mo na magpa-rapid antigen test, no? Magastos din. Magastos. Kaya nung time ng early pandemic, talagang ang daming nangihingi ng mga clearances, no, because of this. Tama. Okay, so I have to tell na this is not COVID, this is allergic rhinitis. Ay, kaya pala, dun sa school, Doktora, tama yung sinabi mo eh. Dun sa school ng mga anak ko, nung kambal, kasi nga, since my daughter, parang, well, she's been showing signs of allergic rhinitis, no? But of course, I haven't brought her to an allergologist. Mukhang mamay mag-uusap tayo. And since, di ba, pag may sipon, bawal talaga. So, kailangan niya ng COVID test, ganyan. And alam nga palagi, parang kung every morning may sipon, di ba? Yeah, so what's the socio-economic impact of that, no? Magastos noon, di ba? So, dapat pala, kaya pala, well, nilagyan ko na siya ginawan ko ng med-cert. So, after that, hindi na siya kinol for that. Kasi, I mean, dalawa magkasama kambal. Di sana yung isa may nahawa kong COVID, parang ganyan. And I just mentioned that kasi I'm sure other parents would be able to relate also. Kasi nga, di ba, yun nga. So, yung ganong ka-affected yung life. So, yun minention nyo na yung socio-economic aspect also would be, would be hardly affected. Yes, agree. What else, Doktora? Yung lifestyle din, no? Isa rin itong sa reason kung bakit yung ibang mga bata ay hindi nakakisalimuha sa ibang mga friends nila because they feel ashamed or shy of their condition, no? Kasi yung ibang mga bata, nabubuli ba sila ganon? Kasi, uy, ikaw sipuning bata, bakit ka lagi may sipon, baradong ilong, and if you have this mga foul-smelling na mga discharges, nakaka-offend sa bata. Kaya parang they tend to shy away na lang from getting befriended with the others. Tapos affected na yung character nila as they grow up, no? Okay, so dapat talaga alam i-manage ng ating mga kasangbahay kung pagka merong allergic rhinitis. So, since hindi nga siya treatable, well, at least can you give, how you manage, okay, or at least control attacks, Doktora? Okay.
So, if you have symptoms ng allergic rhinitis, it's important for us to know kung how severe is your allergic rhinitis para we know kung paano natin gagamutin, no? Of course, we need this mga gamot, no? If it is severe, ibig sabihin ng severe, moderate to severe, meaning you have this affectation of daily activities, your sleep, no? Your work, then it's moderate to severe already. And if it's persistent, when you say persistent, you have at least 4 days a week of symptoms and more than 4 weeks already. So pag ganyan, ang kailangan natin dyan is an intranasal corticosteroid na. So ito yung spray. No, we have different sprays na doktora. Hindi lang po ito yung simpleng saline solution, but this is an intranasal corticosteroid. Spray po siya na steroidal na ini-spray sa loob ng ilong. So this is the drug of choice already for those patients with persistent and moderate to severe allergic rhinitis. But for those patients with intermittent symptoms lang, meaning less than 4 days a week or less than 4 weeks, or there is no affectation of the daily activities or no troublesome symptoms, then we can just give either of your oral antihistamine, your intranasal antihistamine, your oral anti-leukotrienes, or with or without oral decongestant, no? Yun ang mga ating mga paggagamot doon.
I see.
But of course, sabi ko nga sa'yo, hindi tayo natatapos sa pagbigay lang ng gamot. Kailangan natin ma-identify kung ano ang trigger ng pasyente so that we can give directed avoidance measures. Hindi tayo pwedeng magsabi sa pasyente, oh, lahat to bawal na sa'yo. Kailangan kung ano lang yung trigger ng pasyente, yun ang dapat iwasan. Then of course, if you know nga, sabi ko kung meron ka talagang high risk for developing allergic rhinitis, you have to stop exposing na yourself to the possible allergens.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And what other reminders can we give our viewers, okay, with regards to yung kanilang lifestyle and yung nila daily exposure avoidance?
Okay. By the way pala, Doc Sara, aside doon, may mga pasyente kasing nakagamot na, and yet, tapos pag hindi naman kasi pwedeng lifetime na naka-nasal spray ka, di ba? So, kung hindi talaga, pag tinatanggal na natin yung gamot nila at bumabalik talaga yung kanilang symptoms, then we have this option of allergy shots or allergen immunotherapy. I don't know kung meron ka ng idea about that.
Yeah, can you
Okay. So like for example, if the patient is allergic to the house dust mite, ang isang option po is we do desensitization. So we make the patient parang less reactive or less sensitive dun sa house dust mite by injecting the house dust mite itself sa kanya. But it would take 3 years to 5 years of maintenance po ng allergy shots na yan with house dust mite.
So how often do you do that on that particular patient?
For that allergen immunotherapy, we have what we call the build-up phase and then the maintenance phase. The build-up phase, depending on the type of allergen or yung extracts na ginamit, no, it can vary from weekly injection for 1 month or a weekly injection for at least 6 months to 7 months. That's the build-up phase. We let the patient go back to the clinic weekly so we can inject the house dust mite, for example. And then after she finished that's yung pinaka-last po noon, that's the maintenance dose na ng pasyente. We will proceed now to the maintenance phase, which is what we call the monthly injection. And that monthly injection will be lasting for minimum of 3 years to a maximum of 5 years. So we have a lot of patients already benefited to this allergen immunotherapy. Kaya may pag-asa na makontrol ang allergic rhinitis.
Pero doktora, naku, mahal ba yan? Sa presyo?
Depende po. Meron naman po mga centers na nag-o-offer ng ganito at a cost, no? But definitely, if you go into private, mahal po talaga siya. But of course, hindi lahat ng pasyente can avail yung isang subsidized na kasi we screen also patients who can receive this in a subsidized na
Hindi, kasi at least this gives hope dun sa mga like for example, yung occupational type ng allergic rhinitis na parang teka muna, mawawalan siya ng hanap buhay kung kunyari yun talaga yung dun siya exposed, no, and dun siya nagkaka-attack. Okay. Apart from that, doktora, yung mga ano yung mga advice, yung mga reminders natin sa ating mga kasangbahay na dapat iwasan lalo na once diagnosed with or diagnosed of allergic rhinitis.
Okay. So in general, no, sabi ko may prevention. So if you have a high risk tendency to develop allergic rhinitis, no? Of course, you have, since the house dust mite is the most common allergens indoor, no? We should practice how to control the house dust mites inside our homes, no? Kasi we cannot see them. These house dust mites are actually microscopic, no? Sa microscope lang natin makikita niya. Para silang kuto kung makikita mo sila, no? But they don't have eyes. So these usually harbors. Makikita mo usually mga house dust mites sa gantong sofa, no? Sa mga unan, sa mga beds, mga curtains, carpets, and all things na nagko-collect ng dust. So that's why ang pinaka-best po, no, if you have furnitures is ganito. You have the leather or leatherette na cover. We have to avoid upholstered sofas or furnitures. Like this, no, this is very good, no? Yung mga throw pillow or even your pillows are best covered by leather or leatherette. However, we know na this is very mainit, no?
Yeah, mainit
yung
lang.
kama din, sana the mattress ng yung kama natin, no? Mas maganda po ang cover niyan is like this, leather or leatherette, no? Kaya nga, mahal ang mga car seats na covered by leather because of that, no? And if you don't like the leather or leatherette na cover ng iyong mattresses ng beds nyo, then you have the option to buy a house dust mite proof cover, wherein these are a specialized cover po, no? Hindi pa po ito yung bed sheet, no? This is a cover you put on top of your mattress before you put on your bed sheets or pillowcases.
I see. Okay, so parang kahit na infested ang foams. Okay, so that yung
you parang you cover
that
the bed.
Okay, so
para hindi po
prevents.
from the loob ng mattress hindi siya hindi siya magpupunta sa surface ng beds niyo, no? Kasi these are specialized covers na talaga napaka-intricate yung pagkakaano ng mga fibers niya para hindi lumusot doon yung house dust.
Makahanap nga yan. Mga kasambahay na magandang tip. And then, what else, Doktora?
Okay. So, we don't also recommend na meron tayong mga stuffed toys sa loob ng bahay. Kailangan po tanggalin po yan, no? And we should also wash our beddings weekly. And mas maganda po yung huling banlaw is sa mainit na tubig. And mas maganda is sun-dried po talaga siya. Because that's the only way we can kill yung mga house dust mites po yun.
I see.
Okay? We should also remove mga carpets. Hindi na po uso ngayon ng carpets kasi the more na maraming carpets, no, marami pong house dust mites dyan. Sa mga curtains po, din po, we don't recommend mga heavy curtains, no? Cloth. Blinds is better kasi at least yung blinds is napupunasan po yun. Pero yung mga makakapal na kurtina, wherein pag makapal ang kurtina, it would take a year before mo labhan, di ba? Kasi pag mga makakapal yan, nakakatamad talagang ilabhan siya.
Yeah,
so if you want curtains, pwede naman po yung manipis lang para at least weekly din mapapalitan nyo din po.
Yeah, how about, Doktora, pets?
Pets, definitely, if you're allergic na, no, we really don't recommend na you have a pet, any pets na dogs and cats. So, some patients would tell na, wala naman po kaming cats and dogs sa loob ng bahay. Pero, nung nag-skin test kami, talaga ang laki-laki nung reaction doon sa cats and dogs, no? So, even though you don't have cats and dogs sa loob ng bahay, but if your surrounding or environment has a lot of these dogs and cats, you can still be allergic. Why? Because ang allergens po ng mga pets na dogs and cats is very sticky. So, kahit dumaan ka lang doon sa may mga places na may mga dogs, yung allergens po, yung danders po niyan, pwede po yan mag-stick doon sa mga damit natin, which you can also bring in to your house. And if you are drying your clothes outside, kung yung mga kapitbahay, yung mga alagang hayop, then pwede niyo po mag-stick yung mga kanila mga doon. Pwede niyo pa rin madala yan sa loob ng bahay.
Naku, very comprehensive naman yung mga sinabi mo, Doktora, from dun sa umpisa pa lang until dito sa treatment, no? And, okay, so siguro mga kasangbahay, no, to wrap up, basically, kailangan talaga ma-identify po kung ano yung allergen. So, you have to go find an allergologist like Doktora Maiko here, no? And, Doktora, thank you very much. Ang dami namin natutunan sa'yo, sobra.
Yung pala, there's no such thing as hypoallergenic dogs kasi ang allergens ng dogs, hindi lang po sa hairs niya, hindi lang po dun sa danders niya, even dun sa sweat gland and saliva niya, we have also allergens there.
I see. Naku, parang maganda dapat yung mga may allergic rhinitis. Go see Dr. Maiko here. Okay. Naku, thank you, Doktora. Thank you once again kay Dr. Maiko. Would you like to give your final words and bumati ka na rin? Baka may gusto kang batian and invite them to see you here at Makati Medical Center.
Okay. So sa ating mga kasambahay, examine yourself. Baka meron po kayong mga symptoms of allergic rhinitis na hindi nyo lang masyadong iniinda, no? Not until later on, na complicated case na pala yan. Meron na kayong mga asthma na, no? Meron na kayong sinusitis, then that's the only time na makapagpa-check up kayo. And then, if you really have a very strong family history of allergies, it's better po as early as childhood, you prevent na the early development of allergies by not exposing yourself to these mga possible allergens. So, avoidance measures is very important. And if you are already confirmed to have allergic rhinitis, mas maganda po ma-identify natin para hindi naman po lahat nakakaloka pong mag-isip kung ano yung iiwasan mo. So, if you were able to identify kung ano po yung mga triggers, yung at least directed po yung ating avoidance measures. Now, even though allergic rhinitis is a chronic disease or matagalang sakit, no? And even though it's not curable, we still have hope and room for control of your allergic rhinitis. We can do allergy shots if you are already hopeless with the use of your medications, and we can still live a normal life, same as with the others, without the allergic diseases.
I see. Very well said. Thank you once again, Dr. Maria Socorro Agkawili de Jesus, an allergologist from Makati Medical Center. We hope mga kasambay kayo marami pong natutunan sa ating episode. Naku, basta't dito sa Doctors on TV, all we aim to do is provide health tips that inspire and guide you towards a wholesome, healthy life. Naku, kaya wag muna po kayo maglilipat ng channel. Doctors on TV will be right back. Nagbabalik ang Doctors on TV. Mga kasangbahay, dagdag kaalaman. Ako, baka ito ay sakaling makatulong po sa inyo, lalo na sa tuwing umaatake ang iyong allergies. Here are some tips to relieve your allergic rhinitis. Only here at Naturally Yours.
Good morning mga kasambahay. Kayo ba ay nakakaranas ng matagal na biglang pagbabahin? Lalo na kung kayo ay na-expose sa mga balahibo ng hayop at alikabok. Baka allergic rhinitis na yan. Tara, pag-usapan natin ang mga natural ways para ma-relieve once na nagkaroon ka ng allergic rhinitis. So what are you gonna do? So you have to boost your immune system. You can take more of the vitamin C. Sa mga galing ng vitamin C, pwedeng sa prutas, or kung di ka naman mahilig sa prutas, pwede ka naman uminom ng mga food supplement with vitamin C. Okay? Remember, good source of vitamin C, dapat crystalline po yung loob ng capsule ha, kung ano ang vitamin C lang tinitake nyo. Okay? But if you can take lots of fruits with lots of vitamin C, pwede po yan. Ito pa. Kung mahilig ka sa pinya, ano meron sa pinya? Nakakatulong ba sa allergic rhinitis? Definitely, kasi meron siyang quercetin. Quercetin po, yan ang laman ng pinya. Anti-inflammatory, antioxidant pa. What else? Kung meron ka allergic rhinitis, you can take probiotics. Definitely, it can help, okay? So if you have a good immune system, that means yung iyong gastrointestinal system ay healthy rin. Because you're taking probiotics, okay? Now, Tita Doc, yung daw honey, nakakatulong ba yan? Hindi ba yan masama dahil matamis? No, that's good. Take at least 1 teaspoon or 1 tablespoon a day. That's good for allergic rhinitis. Ano pa? What about apple cider vinegar? Nakakatulong din po yan. Okay? Just take it and you will see ang effect. What about turmeric, Tita Doc? Pwede din po yan. So, anong klaseng turmeric ba yun? Okay, pwede in the form of juice, pwede din in the form of capsule, pwede rin po yun. What about iba-ibang tea? Yes, nettle tea is good, but every tea pwede naman po. Okay, just be sure na mainit yung tea, hindi basta malamig, makapasaway ka ang tea mo, maraming ice, etc. No, dapat something hot. Ano pa? What about Tita Doc, yung mga steam inhalation? Nakakatulong ba? Definitely. Ha? Hindi yung pupunta ka ng ospital, doon ka magpapa-steam inhalation. No, you can do it at the comfort of your home. Steam inhalation. Pwede mo lagyan niya ng kahit asin lang, pwede na. Do that at least 2 or 3 times a day. Nakakatulong sa mga may allergic rhinitis. Ito pa, pag matindi ang uhog, okay? Pwede ka mag-saline wash. Nasal saline wash. Medyo mahirap gawin, pero patuturuan naman kayo. Okay? Your doctor can help you with that. Okay? So, simple lang po instruction ko. I'm sure everybody will follow that. Dapat lang para hindi po lumala ang allergic rhinitis. Remember, allergic rhinitis, sa ilong lang yan, di ba? So, pwede magkaroon ng lower respiratory infection, pumunta sa throat, pumunta dito sa trachea, sa bronchus, at sa lung tissue. Baka maging pneumonia yan. Allergic rhinitis na lang umpisa. Okay? So, sana ay marami kayong natutunan sa episode na to. For more natural tips, please follow me on my social accounts sa Facebook, sa Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Maria Lourdes Marquez. This is your Doc Lulu Marquez. Okay? Alam niyo po, yung natural na yan, beautiful po yan, only here at Naturally Yours. Thank you so much.
Sana po ay marami kayong natutunan ngayong araw. We consistently emphasize prioritizing your health for a good life. At sa lahat po ng mga may pinagdadaanan, lalo na sa kanilang mga kalusugan, may God bring healing and guidance to each one of you, mga kasangbahay. And with that, we conclude today's enlightening episode. But before we end, take a moment to watch this.
Watch these snippets for the upcoming episode on Sunday.
Okay, so GERD or gastroesophageal reflux disease, basically ang ibig sabihin nito, may asido tayo sa tiyan na umaakyat, no? At nagba-backflow or nagre-reflux doon sa lalamunan. So that's why it's called gastro, stomach, esophageal, lalamunan, no, esophagus, reflux mo umaakyat.
Maakyat, okay. At yan po mga kasambahay ang aabangan natin sa susunod na linggo. And as we wrap up today's episode, we'd like to extend our gratitude to all our viewers for their unwavering support. And I would like to greet BMPI's General Manager, Mr. J. Eusebio, at syempre po ang ating Kuya Daniel Razon na walang sawang sumusuporta sa mga adhikaing public service. May God always protect you and grant you a healthy life. And syempre binabati ko yung kambal ko, si Iya, and si EJ also, and hi kay Doc Alain, and sa mga pasyente natin sa Barba Cabodil Health and Wellness Center. And syempre, nanay and tatay, I love and miss you both. At sa ating pong mga kasambahay, maraming salamat po sa patuloy ninyong pagtangkilik sa Doctors on TV. And please like and follow my Facebook page. Just type on Facebook search box, Dr. Sara Barba Cabodil. We hope you found this discussion informative, empowering, and inspiring. Remember to follow us on social media for updates. Don't forget to tune in next time, God willing. Muli po, magandang araw at maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Ito po si Dr. Sara Barba Cabodil. Let's make it a habit to learn about good health, only here at Doctors on TV.
We would like to thank Makati Medical Center, a hospital with a heart, located at Amarsal Street, Legazpi Village, Makati City. You may contact them at 632-8888-8999. Like and follow their Facebook page at I Am Makati Med, or you can visit their website at www.makatimed.net.ph. Makati Med Wellness Center, located at 7th floor, Ayala North Exchange Tower 1, Legazpi Village, Makati City. We would like to thank Adlaon Optical, located at ground floor Super 8 Warehouse Poblacion, Bariwag, Bulacan, 0922-878-5911, and second floor Aliw Complex, MacArthur Highway, Calvario, Meycauayan City, Bulacan, 0922-861-2095. Asian Breast Center is a premier healthcare facility dedicated to breast health and wellness. It specializes in breast cancer diagnostics, treatments, and disease management, offering state-of-the-art technologies in treatment guided by American standards and guidelines. visit their Facebook page at facebook.com/Asian Breast Center PH. The Asian Breast Center is located at the 8th floor of Centuria Medical Makati, located in Kalayaan Avenue corner, Salamanca Street, Barangay Poblacion, Makati City. The center is open Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. except holidays. To get the best level of care, you can book an appointment by calling their mobile number at 0917-127-3278 or send inquiries through email ask.abc@asianbreastcenter.com. Breast cancer is curable and treatments are affordable when detected and diagnosed early. Lindison Gas Corporation, located at 179 National Road, Landayan, San Pedro, Laguna, 4023. For inquiries, you may contact them at 02-8824-0867 or 02-824-9360, or you can email them at lgsalesco@gmail.com. Clinica Figura, located at Entrata Building, Philinvest, Alabang. You may contact them at 0917-317-7272. Barbaca Bodil Health and Wellness Center, located at Unit 1531, Centuria Medical Makati, Century City, Makati. You may contact them at 0917-317-7272 for appointments and other inquiries about your health and wellness needs. Dr. Sara Barbaca Bodil would like to express her gratitude to Medical Depot, healthy num-num food, where we do.